Well, firstly, I'm really happy to contribute very briefly to this important conference about the European Social Fund, in particular how it's worked in Ireland and the benefits that it's brought. 60 years of this fund, 60 years since the signing of the Treaties of Rome, so it's a long history, but a lot of work has taken place, and indeed there is more to be done. At the very core of the European Social Fund and its objectives is social inclusion. We're now moving into areas of great concern around youth unemployment, around training for the new era of work. So the fund has evolved, and indeed in Ireland I've counted over 25 different funding programmes that it supports. And I think what we need to hear from are those who've benefited from the fund, because very often we hear about a pool of money, a big title, and we don't actually hear from those who benefit and whose lives have been supported and assisted, not just by the fund, but also by the European Union and by the ethos that Europe has around employment, growth and social inclusion. Your conference is taking place after the conference in Gothenburg on the social dimension of the European Union. There's a huge emphasis on the social dimension, and I think that's particularly welcome, because after the era of crisis, of economic near collapse and great angst, I think it's important now that we focus on people. So two issues really then is the future of Europe and the impact of Brexit on that future, but also today. And clearly from an Irish point of view, Brexit is an issue of deep concern, and we're working hard to make sure that whatever the negotiations or whenever those conclude, that there will be a good outcome for the European Union and indeed for Ireland in those talks. And then we look to the future of Europe, and I think we have to give ownership of the European project back to people. Part of that is talking about how the funds work on the ground, and that's why I really would love to hear from the stakeholders who benefit from the European Social Fund, so that they can spread the word that Europe isn't just about statistics and directives and regulations, but at the core of Europe is trying to help countries, communities, people, families to grow and prosper and to be secure, preferably in their own member state, but also giving them the freedom to move to other member states, to work and to travel. So I hope you have a good conference. I hope all those issues I've briefly mentioned are discussed in depth, and that those who are participating will gain a deeper understanding of the value of joint European action, particularly in the social space.